Hey, everybody, and welcome to Smoky Mountain Echo, the show where we highlight the people, programs, and services that make Haywood County so special. I'm Dylan Huffman, your host, and today we're going to be turning our attention to some of our furry friends here in Haywood County. I'm joined by Kristen from Haywood County Animal Services to talk about everything from adoption to fostering to some of those heartwarming stories behind the animals waiting for their forever homes. Whether you're a lifelong pet lover or considering adoption for the first time, this episode is going to be for you. So let's start by talking a little bit about Haywood County Animal Services, kind of what you all do and how you guys serve our community.
So we do a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't realize that we do. So not only do we take in, stray animals and we adopt them out, we make sure they're healthy and all that kind of fun stuff. But we also work with animal control. Animal control also works out of this building. We also do rabies shots. So we do offer 1-year rabies shots for a very affordable price. It's only $10. We offer fostering, volunteering programs. We do a lot of stuff here. We do events, just a lot of things. We help out with the community whenever we can. Just a lot of stuff that we try to do to help out with the animals around here.
I know it kind of fluctuates, probably from day to day, but let's talk about some of the animals that you do have up for adoption right now and what folks need to do if they are looking to adopt.
We have a lot of animals available right now. I believe when I checked the website this morning, we have around 22 dogs and I think 16 cats. So somewhere in the 30s as far as available goes. The big thing to remember when people are looking to adopt is that even though we have, what we have listed is available, there are more animals in the building than what is listed because they might be not ready yet as far as a medical issue. It could be age, anything like that. So that number is constantly fluctuating. So being able to if you look at the website, you don't see anything that you're not 100% interested in. If you check back again in a few days, that there could be totally new faces on there. So just kind of remembering that. As for the animals that we have currently available, we have so many that are incredible. We have dogs that are house trained and leash trained and, good with kids. And we've got a lot of barn cats right now that are used to catch little critters in your barn or on your property that are inside-outside cats. We have started implementing doggy play groups so we can learn about dogs that are good with other dogs, and a lot of the dogs we have available right now are good with other dogs and they like to play and they like to do all those kinds of things. And we've actually got so many really great ones that we've actually started reducing our adoption fees to try to find them more homes because we've just got so many great animals here.
So what exactly is a reduced adoption fee? And talk to us about what that adoption fee covers whenever you come in and adopt a pet.
Yeah. For sure. So the reduced adoption fee, so our typical adoption fees are $90 for dogs, $50 for cats, which is already a crazy deal because it's including initial heartworm preventatives for dogs. It's got spay and neuter in it. It's got core vaccines, a rabies tag and certificate. If they're not old enough to get a rabies tag or certificate, we give you a voucher so you can come back and get it when they are old enough. And they're microchipped, or if it's a barn cat, we do the ear tip, but they're microchipped as well. So these are all things, we did the math one time, and if you did all of that at a regular vet's office, you'd be looking at around $600 or $700 for all of those things. And for here, you just pay, for a dog, $90. So that's a fraction of what it is. And now, because we have so many incredible dogs, we've actually lowered that to $30 for a dog. So we are, slicing it even further down. So that way you can use that extra money that you're saving to go towards food for it, or a new leash and collar, or a new harness, or a crate if you need it. Stuff like that. So the adoption fees mainly cover the core vaccines and all that kind of fun stuff. And with us making it even lower, we're just really trying to help you save money while also giving that dog a good home.
Yeah, $30 is absolutely an incredible deal. Let's talk about any standout animals. Are there any animals right now that just have amazing personalities that you would love to highlight?
I have one dog and one cat, if I can. The little kitty option is a little guy that we have proudly displayed in our lobby. He has the very original name of Gary. He's a little orange cat, but that's not why he's special needs. Because, orange cats are a little special anyway, exactly. But unfortunately, he's a very young little fella. But at some point in his life, he experienced blunt force trauma to his spine. So he's got a little divot in the back of his spine, and because of that, it is pinching on his little esophagus. So don't let it fool you. He's still running around and he's a menace to society. He acts like a 2-year-old and they're terrible twos. But because of that, he has to eat, instead of eating just like 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, like a normal cat, he has to eat smaller meals throughout the day, because if he eats too quickly with that pinched esophagus, it can make him sick. So he just has to have a little bit of, extra care, and then he has to be monitored as he grows, because obviously if his back is injured as he grows into his adult body, we just have to monitor and make sure that it's not causing any other problems. But if you look at him right now, he runs around and he plays and he jumps all over everything and he tries to log into your computer and he locks you out and all the normal typical kitten things. He's just an absolute gem and we all love him. He's just fantastic. As for the dogs, we have one guy here who had a little bit of a sadder start, but he's been doing fantastic. His name is Jordy. He is a little guy who found himself in a situation with another dog where his people left him behind. When we first found him, we were a little worried because the other dog was, seeming to be okay, but he was just kind of acting strange and we couldn't figure out why. And then very quickly we realized it's because he is deaf and he is partially blind in both eyes. So he definitely needed a little bit more help than a normal dog, and once we were able to provide him with the help that we knew he needed, he just turned into this amazing little dude. And he obviously, because he can't see very well and he can't hear, touch is very important to him. So when we take him out and we take him wherever we go, typically we take him into our play yard, he doesn't want to throw a ball or anything because he can't see it, but he wants to sit in your lap and just be cuddled pretty much. And he's a little guy. He's only, oh gosh, I couldn't tell you how much he weighs, but he's not very big and he is just so, so sweet. He just has to navigate the world a little bit differently, but we have had him with other dogs and he's done really great. He just needs someone who's willing to give him the little bit of help that he needs to kind of navigate around a house pretty much.
What is the experience that folks can expect whenever they come in to animal services to maybe meet some of the animals and hopefully adopt?
When you come into the adoption center, we have 2 awesome, incredible adoption counselors that sit at the front desk and they'll greet you when they come in. If you've already looked at the website and you have a particular animal in mind and you know who you want to meet, then you could ask them directly about them and they can tell you everything about that particular animal. If you're not 100% sure, they might ask you a couple of questions like, are there any other animals in the house? Are there small children in the home? Do you have a big fenced-in yard? What kind of this, that, and the third, just a few questions, and then they can kind of start to match you with an animal that they think would be a good fit. So for example, if you come in and you're like, hey, I really love to go hiking and I love to be really active outside and it's me and my husband and my 2 older kids, we'd be like, okay, this guy is going to be the greatest one for you, but you could also look at this one, and they can kind of point out who they think would be a good fit. And then once they kind of tell you, they'll walk you back and let you kind of see them. And then once you find one that you're like, hey, I'd really like to meet this guy, then they'll bring him out and they'll let you meet him and you can sit and, pet him and play with him for a few minutes and kind of introduce yourself. And then you can start kind of deciding if that's one that you want to take home or if you want to maybe see somebody else, and they'll walk you through that entire process. And then once Once you've made the decision that there's one that you want to take home, then they walk you through the paperwork and we take a picture to commemorate the moment, and then we just send them on their way and we let them go start their new life.
What are some things that folks should consider as they are maybe thinking about bringing a new pet into their home?
So I think the biggest thing is having a thoughtful approach, but also having a realistic approach. When people come into the shelter, um, they come in and they're thinking to themselves, okay, we're going to get a dog, and we're going to say, we're going to get this dog, and this dog is going to force us to be active, and we're going to do this and that. And sometimes that's just not the case. So being honest with yourself and saying like, hey, this is the kind of personality that I know that I'm going to be able to take care of and I'm going to be able to handle. Being honest and saying that right from the get-go is really, really important, because we don't want to put an animal in a situation where they're not going to thrive. So being able to come in and say, hey, I'm like moderately active, but I'm not like super active, but I don't want a couch potato, but I don't think I can handle like a super active wiry dog. Or if you're looking for a cat, maybe like I want one that's going to kind of be cuddly, but I'm not home all the time, so it needs to be able to be at home. Having those realistic expectations of what you're prepared to handle is going to be very important, because we want to place you with an animal that's going to fit into the lifestyle you have now and not the lifestyle that you're hoping you'll have. And granted, once you have the lifestyle that you're hoping you have, that dog or cat can adjust to that, or we can work towards that another way. But being able to just say like, don't be ashamed to say like, hey, this dog is too much energy for me. Like, don't be afraid to say that. We would rather you say that here and now, so that we can find somebody where that dog will thrive, rather than you take it home and then 10 days later be like, okay, this is too much, and then they just come right back, because that just confuses them. So being able to come in knowing like you want to find the one that's going to fit your guys' lifestyle at the moment is a really important step, I think, for sure.
If someone isn't maybe quite ready to adopt a pet, but they still want to help out, they still want to support Haywood County Animal Services, what are some things that they can do to help you guys?
Yeah. There's a number of things. We do have a very beloved volunteer program. So that is one that's a really great way for people to come in and help. We have a lot of animals in the building. Currently we have over 80 in the building. So even though we have, I think if you do the math, it's like 37 dogs and cats available for adoption, we have over 80. So over 50% of the animals in the building are not available right now. But a lot of the animals that are not available can still get enrichment from volunteers, because they still need care, they still need love. Even though they're not ready to go to a new home yet, we still need to give them the same care and love as the ones who are. So volunteers coming in and being able to help us walk the dogs, play with the cats, make sure that the dogs are getting their exercise for the day. Those are all really important things that we need every single day. The other thing is we do have a foster program. So when you foster, you are bringing an animal into your home, but it is not a permanent. Well, we do have foster failures, but it's not a permanent addition. Basically, what you're doing is you are doing kind of like a temporary hotel stay for that pet. So you can, we get to learn how they are in a house. We get to learn how they are maybe around your family, around other animals. Not only are you helping that animal by getting them out of the shelter environment, but you're opening up a kennel for us to bring in another one. So you're actually helping save 2 lives if you foster. But we get to learn about because animals in this particular environment, in the shelter environment, do not act the same as they do when they're at a house. We see that a lot. So we get to really explore how different they are when they're at a home. We've had several fosters who take home the dogs that are in the kennels that are jumping all over the place and barking and screaming, and they're wild, absolutely crazy while they're here. And then they get home and they just kind of want to lay around and they'll get up and play, but they're relaxed there. And so they're considerably less, quote unquote, problematic at home because they don't feel the stress of being in this environment. So fostering is an absolutely wonderful way to help us out if you're not quite ready to make the commitment, because we provide you with everything for that animal. We make sure that it has, the necessary medications, make sure it has food and toys, and if it's a cat, litter boxes, stuff like that. We provide all of that for you, for the animal that you're fostering. So if you're not quite ready to make the commitment yet, opening your home up to a foster is a fantastic way to kind of like test if you're ready to be like, hey, is my house prepared for this animal to be in here? You can test it with fostering and stuff like that. And then we also accept, the typical like donations. We always need like puppy and kitten food are really big things that we always need. Treats, blankets and towels and all the things. All of these things are things that we always accept as donations. So that's if you're not quite ready to do like the one-on-one with the animals, doing donations is a great way to do it as well.
What role can the community play in helping you reduce overcrowding and to, ensure that animals find good homes?
So overcrowding right now is actually like a national problem that we've run into, especially since the pandemic, and locally since the mill closure. A lot of people have had to surrender their animals, and a lot of people just aren't adopting due to financial issues, or maybe they've had to move homes because of these problems. So overcrowding has become a really big issue, and honestly the biggest help I think that the community could do is fostering is one of the biggest ones, because you're opening up those kennels for us to be able to have as many animals in our care as possible. So like we have 38 animals that are ready for adoption. If all 38 of those animals were in foster homes currently, we could put 38 more animals in the kennels that they are currently occupying. So that's doubling the amount of animals that we can care for, essentially. Overcrowding has gotten to the point where it's a national crisis, but also if people are willing to adopt, if you have the space and the financial resources and you're willing to take on a shelter pet, that's the biggest help is adoption. But if you're not quite ready for that, we understand. So helping spread the word about adoption, if we have events, helping with the events, sharing the information for the events, talking, if you have someone that you're talking to and they say that they might be interested, send them our way. Word of mouth around here particularly is a big thing. So doing all of that is really, really helpful. Anything that we can do to help lower the number of animals coming in and expedite the ones that need to go out is a great way to help us out.
Let's talk about some of the events that you guys are going to be a part of. How can folks stay up to date on events that you're a part of, or animals that you have adopted or available for adoptions? I know you guys have a Facebook page, you have a website. What are some of the key things that folks need to do to stay up to date on things that you're doing?
Yeah. Our Facebook page is probably the thing that gets updated the most, just because it's social media,
Sure.
and it's constantly getting posted on. But we have a Facebook page called Friends of Haywood County Animal Services. That is our nonprofit that we partner with. And so they run our Facebook page, and we're constantly posting on there about events and specials and, the animals that we have available. We do shout outs and stuff like that. We like to highlight the animals that are here, especially the long timers that have been here for a while. All of those things. So those are a big way to help out. If you go onto our website, you're going to find a lot more of our more consistent information. So like our address, our phone number, our emails, volunteer and foster applications are listed on there. Any information for animal control is listed on there. We do also keep it updated with our current specials and events and stuff like that on the main website as well. And then also we have a list of all of our upcoming volunteer orientations. So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, but you're like not quite sure, you can attend one of those orientations to just kind of get like an idea of what we do. And then maybe that can help you decide if you want to put in an application or not. But yeah, we have all of those things. Those are going to be our two biggest things. Also, just keeping an eye out around town. We tend to post flyers and stuff like that if we have any major events or anything like that. And if you have any questions about anything, just feel free to call us and ask. We'd be happy to help with anything, honestly.
Do you have a favorite, maybe adoption story that still makes you smile?
It was right when I first started. It was, I believe it was in July, I think. Yeah, July 2023. There was a dog that had been brought in. Her name was Lacey, and she had been hit by a car. She was a bigger dog, and the person who brought her in, I think, had found her kind of, I don't remember if she was in the road or on the side of the road. I'm not sure. But she had been hit by a car. They brought her in and we got her here. And immediately, as soon as we got her here, we started trying to figure out where she belonged. Like, she didn't have a collar or anything on. She wasn't microchipped. And so we were posting all over our Facebook, like, hey, whose dog is this? And the biggest reason why we were doing that, which it did cause a little bit of a stir on Facebook, because she needed a surgery. She had a fractured pelvis from the car injury. So it caused a little bit of a stir. People were like, well, why aren't you taking her to surgery? Why aren't you doing that? So legally, a dog that we do not know the owner to has to go through what we call a stray hold, which means we have no legal guardianship or ownership over this animal until X number of days, because we have to give the owner a chance to come forward to claim the animal. Now we were able to provide her with like pain medication to like keep her from being in pain. But we were on Facebook and we were begging the owner. We're like, even if you can't afford the vet bills, like, please come forward and claim her, and we will help you take care of it. Like, we will get her the surgery she needs. Like, please, like, we need to get her into surgery. Finally, we were able to get her into a surgery, and she had a repair on her little pelvis. And then we have a fantastic volunteer named Dee Parton, who I'm sure you know. She is a wonderful member of our community. She offered to foster her through her entire 8-week recovery. So she had 8 weeks where Dee had to have the little sling and like help her walk, and Dee basically taught her how to walk again. So she came in and she was just pitiful and she couldn't move, and she just had she looked like a little Sarah McLachlan commercial. Just absolutely pitiful. And then, 6 to 8 weeks later, I want to say it was right at about 8 weeks, Dee brought her back in and she was walking and jumping and happy and having a great time. And less than a week later, she got adopted out and was able to go home to a new family. And she's been happy running around her little place ever since then. So it was one of my first like big adoptions that I had seen, where I was like, wow, this dog went from the side of the road in pain and, feeling like there was no chance, to being in a warm house with a bed and brothers and sisters and friends and, all these things. And it was just a really great, like, 180 that she had, for sure.
What's one thing that, maybe folks don't realize about, working here at Animal Services or, adopting from a shelter?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that, I think a lot of people realize that working in animal welfare is really stressful, but I think they also don't realize just how rewarding it is. Like I said, we have over 80 animals in the building right now, but we only have less than 20 staff members to take care of all of those animals. So yes, it's stressful because they need the care, they need the attention. I think sometimes people will go on the website and they'll see, oh, well, you only have 20 dogs available for adoption, so that's all you guys have. And they don't realize like just how full we actually are, because they can't see all of them. And so it's hard to explain to people sometimes, about that, but it's really, really rewarding to teach people kind of about how we work and also the benefits of adopting a shelter pet, not only having all of the included vaccines and uh, the spay and neuter at a low price, that's a great thing, but also finding a dog that is probably already house trained or probably already good with kids or good with cats, or finding a cat that is going to be good with small children and other dogs, stuff like that. Finding those kinds of things in an animal in a shelter, I think a lot of people don't realize is possible. When people hear shelter pet, I think there's a little bit of a stigma where they think, oh, well, it's at the shelter because it's mean, or it's at the shelter because it's aggressive, or it's at the shelter because if the person surrendered it, they obviously didn't want it because of this, it's fault. When in reality, we have an owner surrender waiting list right now because we are so full. I mean, we have a stray waiting list right now because we literally can't bring in it, and we don't have any open kennels at the moment. When you're looking at the owner surrender waiting list, we always ask them, like, one of the biggest questions is, why are you surrendering the pet? Like, what is the reasoning behind it? Of the owner surrender waiting list, I can't remember if I saw any of them where it was the pet's fault. Like, it's almost never the pet's fault. It's usually the owner may be elderly and is moving into assisted living and can't take it with them. Or maybe there's been a financial hardship. Someone lost a job and they can't afford the extra care. Maybe it's, I mean, who knows? There's so many things, but very rarely is the reason for surrender the animal's fault. So people have this stigma of, oh, all the pets in the shelter are because they're mean or aggressive or they're too much, when in reality, most of the pets that are here because the people couldn't take care of them and the people knew that their best shot would be to come here. So you're going to find pets. I mean, we don't have a lot of like pure breed, like, and that's what sometimes people want, but the pets that are here are friendly and affectionate and trained and, great family pets that just unfortunately have to make a pit stop because the family that they had before had something happen and now they need to go find their next family. And, there's so many reasons as to why they're here, but just remembering that they're still pets. Like, they're not some aggressive, mean, awful animal. They're just pets that just had to make a pit stop somewhere. And if you just give them a chance, they'll make wonderful additions to any family. Just forgetting that rumor that's in your head of shelter pets are mean, forgetting that and just giving them a chance, you're going to find some incredible animals here, 100%.
Let's talk about some, upcoming events or animal drives or promotions or things that you guys have, going on right now or, for the rest of the year.
Throughout the summer, we're going to be trying to participate in, craft fairs and trying to have booths kind of throughout different events throughout the county. We are continuing our reduced adoption fees even without the events, so that is something to look forward to. We are also looking at doing our annual holiday events at the end of the year like we always do. We always do stuff for Halloween. We do stuff for Christmas. We already have made a phone call to the North Pole for Santa Claus to come back because he is a hit every year. So we do all of our holiday event, but looking at the summer, we are looking to participate in several festivals throughout the county. So just keep an eye out on our Facebook page and we'll let you know kind of which ones we're going to wind up popping up at. And 90% of them, I will be there. So you'll have to listen to me yap for a little while, but I'll be there. But we've got several going on throughout the year that we're excited about.
As we kind of wrap up this conversation, let's kind of talk about your hope or your goal, for the rest of the year as it comes to, or when it comes to adoptions here at Haywood County Animal Services.
Honestly, it's probably going to sound cheesy, But my goal for adoptions this year is the same that it is every year. I want to see an empty shelter at some point. Even if it's just for a day. Being able to walk through the building and knowing that every life that was in here was saved would be just an amazing thing. And even though it's going to take a lot of work to get to that point, but I do think that it's possible. Every year I tell myself, like, this is going to be the year that we have that one moment of silence. What are there? Because it's never silent in here. But right after the hurricane, Helene, we had some incredible partners come in from around the area that helped us pull a lot of our long timers, so that we could open the doors to animals that were displaced and stuff like that. And so there was a brief moment in between when they had pulled all of those animals out and we were getting the new ones in. There was a brief moment where there was not very many dogs in here or cats in here. And there were still some in here. It wasn't completely empty, but it was really close. And having that moment it was hard because we knew that it was going to get refilled again really fast because of the storm. But there was just a moment of like, wow, we got all of those pets out of here safely. All of them are now going to new homes. They're all going to rescues that are going to get them new homes. There was just a brief moment of like, hey, we did that. Like, that's really cool. So if we can do that again, but with all of them and them going to new homes and, to rescues and stuff like that, and being able to say, like, we saved the 80-something animals that are in the shelter and now we're ready to help 80-something more, I just think that'd be really, really cool.
That was Kristen from Haywood County Animal Services. They're located at 453 Jones Cove Road in Clyde. Their phone number is 828-456-5338. You can also reach them over on Facebook, Friends of the Haywood County Animal Shelter. And if you go to our website, haywoodcountync.gov, and click on Animal Services, you'll be able to see everything they're up to there as well. Whether you're a longtime resident, a newcomer, or just curious about local government, our podcast is one of your go-to sources for staying connected and informed. New episodes are available the last Tuesday of every month, and they're always available on demand. You can check out our website, smokymountainecho.podbean.com. I'm Dylan Huffman, and we will see you next month.